right. Hello, hello, hello. Welcome back to the stream. We are on episode 8 of the podcast on my channel. What an eventful, I guess, few weeks we've had. I've personally been going through things and I just have not been able to stream and get my point of view and my words out there. But we are officially back, and right now everything's going a little bit more swimmingly in my life, so I can kind of focus on my school, making sure I get my bachelor's degree, making sure I work out a little bit more, the things you need to do to look cute and be smart. Something maggots know nothing about. But yeah, so I've just been going through it, and I'm just trying to get back on the road and get back on track. And the best way I can get back on track is reacting to stupidity, right? Complete and utter idiocracy. That's how you get back on track, because this is what the world has come to. It's come to nothing but just ignorant statements every single. It's like we don't get a break. We just don't get a break from the ignorant people. Like, we just don't. Whether it's our Congress people, whether it's people in the House, whether it's our own president. It's just continuously just hate-filled speech to target minority groups of people, and it's scary. But we're not going to get into that today. Today we are going to be reacting to none other than Charlie Kirk's funeral. So, if you guys don't know, which you probably do, Charlie Kirk was a right-wing extremist, and I'm going to say that very clearly, extremist in his views. And he was unfortunately shot and killed at one of his events right through the neck. And it sucks that he went out that way. That's one thing I will say. I think people have a right to talk about how they want to talk about, but do I have empathy? Do I feel bad for Charlie Kirk? Absolutely not. And I'm going to give you this analogy. Would a slave owner be upset that his would a slave be upset that his slave owner was murdered? I don't think so. And the way I look at this whole situation is that Charlie Kirk preached and put forth these ideas of misogyny, of these ideas of racism, these ideas that stem from ignorance, from his own childhood. And he put forth those ideas as if they were factual evidence of his kind, his ethnocentrism being what America needs to survive. So when I say that, I'm like, why would I have empathy for someone who would gladly eviscerate and eradicate my kind? Why would I have empathy and condolences for someone that would eviscerate and eradicate someone who does not look like him, act like him, talk like him, or fit his ideologies of what a human being is? I wouldn't, and I don't. I don't have empathy for that man. Would I have empathy for him if he voiced his opinion in a way that didn't demonize communities and make them out to be such harmful, disgusting pieces of crap? Maybe. But at the same time, the way he went about, he was a propaganda machine for the right wing. He was, again, another puppet for the right wing. That is how I think of Charlie Kirk. I think he's spineless. I think he's gross. And I don't think that I should have empathy for someone that would eviscerate my community and my kind like that if he had every ounce of power too. So that is my opinion on Charlie Kirk. Yes, it sucks that his children have to see that video of their father online in the future, or if they haven't already. It does suck, and I feel bad for his kids, but I don't feel bad for his wife. I don't feel bad for him, and I'm not going to, because like I said, would a slave have empathy or condolences for their slave owner? No. And Charlie Kirk preached nothing but hate speech and rhetoric in a lot of his in a lot of his events. And you can't tell me otherwise. When he's saying that Michelle Obama and Joy Reid, they don't have brains or capacity to actually have an education. Meanwhile, he didn't finish his, or wasn't even, not just didn't finish his education, but couldn't even get into the college he wanted to. So you can't sit here and say someone is uneducated when you're uneducated and ignorant. All of his statements were ignorant. All of his statements were unkind, and they were untruthful, and they really just perpetrated through hate. They perpetrated through just complete divisiveness of the United States of America. And he is definitely one of the reasons why America is the way it is today. And what I mean by it is what it is today. It is what it is today by the political climate we are in, and he contributed to that huge split instead of contributing to unity. So, do I feel bad he got shot? Do I feel bad he got killed for speaking what he thought was right? Yes, I feel bad how it happened, but I don't feel bad that his ideas, not necessarily are dying with him, but his ideas kind of, died with him a little bit, even though they're memorializing him like he's a saint or something. I just, that kind of voice is very, very disgusting and disturbing to have out in the world. And especially when it demonizes marginalized communities. I just don't agree with it. And the one thing I want to say about politics, one thing I want to say about life in general is you can have your thoughts and opinions on people, but when those thoughts and opinions infringe on people's human rights, when those thoughts and opinions really dictate how people can live through your lens, through your eyes, through your ideologies, through your mythical book, I don't agree with it. I want you to have your Christianity. I want Jews to have their Judaism. I want everyone to live how they want freely, and as long as they're not hurting other people. But right now, in the eyes of how I'm seeing this, I don't want to say Christians. I want to say MAGA, because not all Christians are MAGA. And MAGA has become such an extreme right-wing propaganda ideology, white nationalist movement in the United States that I can't right now conflate Christianity with MAGA. MAGA is an extreme political movement that uses Christianity as a cloak of kindness. Meanwhile, they're not kind, and they don't follow Christian values. Because if MAGA followed Christian values, they wouldn't have a 34-count convicted felon sitting in our presidential office telling people that he hates his opponents. Because isn't that not Jesus-like? Isn't Jesus like, I love everyone, right? Love everyone, show respect. And Donald Trump is over here saying, screw everyone. I don't like my opponents. I hate them. I hope they die practically. But we're going to get into this. Charlie Kirk's insane funeral. So let's go ahead and start watching some of these speeches. All right. So up first, we have Erica Kirk. That is the wife of Charlie Kirk. Her and Charlie have 2 children. So let's go ahead and get this on up here. Perfect. All right. I think that's good. We have it up. Hopefully you guys can hear this. This is the first time I'm doing it like this, so I hope you guys can hear. Okay, first of all, why do we have pyrotechnics? This is literally like a UFC event or a WWE event. She's making a whole entrance. She's literally making a whole entrance right now. Damn, you guys can't even afford to get 1080p or 4K? That's crazy. She's literally making a whole entrance. This is what I did when I was a wrestler. Oh, come on. Use the cue of the music, her pulling her head up. Oh, come on. She looks gorgeous, though. I'm gonna give her that. She does look gorgeous. Whoever did her makeup today said, we gonna slay for this. We gonna make you look like a grieving widow. Oh, but it just doesn't look right. Something just doesn't look right on her face. Like, not her face as, like, a whole look, but something in her eyes just screams just evil. There's something in her eyes that just screams like evil and just cold, even with a smile on her face. I hope you guys can hear this, because I don't know if I'm doing this right. I'll hold off. No, I won't hold off, actually. We're gonna pause that. This is my problem with the Christian faith, or religion in general, but right now, specifically the Christian faith. They believe that some Holy Ghost, some spirit, some eternal being named God is going to pull someone into divinity and bless the world through their ideologies of how God perceives and wants his world to be. And it just doesn't click with me. It doesn't make sense. The math is not mathin' on this one. Because if God is supposed to be all loving of all of his creations, which means me, which means you, which means every single human being, every single molecule practically at that point, if you're really thinking about it, if God is supposed to be all loving, right? Why is he using Charlie Kirk to preach and at his events use, slurs like the C word to describe Chinese people, calling people who are obviously educated as DEI hires and not eligible for positions they're obviously qualified for that he isn't even qualified for. So it's just the Christian love, which is truly disguised as hate and bigotry. And that's what doesn't connect with me with Christianity, is the amount of visceral hate some Christians have. And I say some because not all Christians live like these people. Not all Christians live like the publicized Christians of MAGA. But the publicized Christians of MAGA give Christianity a bad name. They gripped on to Christianity and cloaked it as their cover for hatred, bigotry, and nothing but pure evil. And I see it in this woman's eyes. She is not a good human being. And I'm not going to hold down on that. I'm not going to back down on it. I don't think any of these people are good human beings. I think they are evil. I think they are peddling mistruths and divisiveness to cause a rupture in our society of America. They are trying to isolate America. They are trying to take out minorities by putting them in internment camps like they did in Alligator Alcatraz with Hispanics and Latinos. And now they're trying to target trans people and make them a target of military of what did he say? He said they were going to be a target, a terrorist group. Trans people a terrorist group. Meanwhile, you have a whole group of Nazis walking down a street with guns, preaching that they're going to cleanse the streets, go to door, and waiting for Trump to sound the alarm. Yet trans people are just trying to get healthcare to exist, and trans people are the problem. That's my issue with Christianity. They turned a blind eye, and then not Christianity, but that's with my problem with fake Christians that exist within MAGA and cloak their agenda in the Christianity and book of the Bible. They cloak it, but they are truly hateful and bigots, and they don't want anyone else to succeed, let alone exist, if they don't abide by their rules and regulations. And their rules and regulations isn't a part of the Bible. It's their own book. And that is why I think these people are so evil. They took a religion and they perverted it and publicized it and made it political and made people believe it. And it made people believe that they were acting in their best faith. But 8 months into this presidency, and what has this president done other than mispronounce drug names and make an ass of himself on the White House front lawn? Nothing. You guys have voted this man in, and he is nothing but a disgrace. And he has tarnished the presidency, let alone building a ballroom in the White House while people are starving and there's homeless people in the streets. I mean, I can go on for hours and hours and hours about this one presidency alone, and it's only been 8 months, let alone his previous presidency that lasted 4 years. We have Fox News hosts. You want to see how evil this is? You have Fox News hosts live on TV saying we should euthanize and lethally inject homeless people involuntarily. It doesn't matter if they want it or not. If they're homeless, they need to die. That is not Christian thoughts. That's not Christian action. That's not a Christian heart. And that's certainly Christian love, though. Because Christian love is really just hate. And I want to really put this and hammer this in. It's no longer Christianity. MAGA is a cult. MAGA is its own denomination of Christianity. And I say that because it's cloaked in Christianity, but it's run under its own rules and regulations, and it has its own people who are using Christianity for evil. But let's get back to this. I really hope you guys can hear this. One minute, I can check if you guys can hear it. We can check. One minute, I can check if you guys can hear it. Wait, you guys can't hear it. You guys can't hear it. I just realized you guys can't hear it. Do I need to add an audio source? Hold up. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out. 1 minute. See, this is live stream viewers that we need to I need to like actually 1 minute. We're gonna figure this out. We're gonna figure this out. Do I need to add an audio source? Hold up. I don't know. I don't know how to do this. I'm so stupid sometimes. This is technical difficulties. Add source. Audio input capture. Audio input capture. Okay. Device. No. Okay. 1 minute. We're gonna figure this out.